The Coastline Peruvian Style. A report by Sergio Morariu. After many years, I finally managed to visit Latin America, where I spent the most interesting 15 years of my life, both professionally and personally. I intend to share with you on this platform some of the impressions I gathered during this trip. My first destination was Peru, where I spent most of my time there and which holds the most memories for me. Latin America is a wonderful continent, but a very special one, sharing many commonalities with Romania due to the language, the Christian faith, and a similar mindset. Yet it is also very different due to its climate, history, culture, and, not least, the Spanish language, which is the same in all countries except Brazil and 3 smaller countries in the north of the continent, and is also one of the most widely spoken languages in the world. Another distinguishing feature compared to Romania is that the vast majority of Peruvians also speak an indigenous language. Peru is a very large country. With an area of 1,285,000 square kilometers, it is about 5.4 times larger than Romania and has a population of 32 million, with a population density of 25 people per square kilometer, compared to Romania's 81 people per square kilometer. Due to the diversity of its landforms, both continental and oceanic influences, and its proximity to the equator, the country experiences highly varied climatic conditions that are largely unexpected for the tropical region in which it is located. Most Peruvians live in the desert along the Pacific coast, where the capital, Lima, is also located, with a population of nearly 11 million. The climate there is mild, what we Europeans would describe as an eternal spring, where it never rains, the wind doesn't blow too often or too strongly, it doesn't snow, and it doesn't freeze, with temperatures ranging from +14 to +28 degrees Celsius. This mild climate is also responsible for the year-round vegetation, resulting in a constant abundance of flowers with striking colors, such as bougainvillea, a climbing plant that adorns many buildings with various shades of red or purple. The fact that vegetation remains active year-round also has the great advantage that in Peru there is no such thing as seasonal fruit. Fruits can be grown almost any time, and repeated harvests are possible, resulting in an abundance of fruits, vegetables, and agricultural products. In Peru, many delicious fruits are consumed that are unknown in Europe due to the high transportation costs for these highly perishable fruits. Another characteristic is that the length of the days remains nearly constant without major variations as seen in Europe, with daylight beginning around 7 a.m. and darkness setting in around 7 p.m. The temperate climate is largely due to the cold Humboldt Current, which flows along the Pacific coast from the southern polar region and reduces the tropical influence characteristic of this geographical area. These characteristics also contribute to the fact that near the Peruvian coast one can live very comfortably without winter heating, June, July, August, and without summer air conditioning, December, January, February. I used quotation marks because what Peruvians refer to as winter and summer would be considered normal late spring and summer weather conditions in Romania. It should not be forgotten that the Andes reach heights of nearly 7,000 meters, where eternal glaciers reign, and in the Amazonian lowlands, which cover over 60% of the country's territory, the tropical jungle reigns supreme. The low ocean temperature allows Peru to benefit from an exceptional abundance of fish. To protect, conserve and regulate the use of natural resources in the waters of the Pacific Ocean belonging to Peru, the country has extended its sovereignty to 200 miles of waters adjacent to its coasts since 1947. This explains why Peruvian waters are home to thriving industries dedicated to the harvesting, processing, and preservation of seafood, which is exported worldwide. Fish consumption is very high in Peru, and the country's cuisine is strongly centered on seafood. With an abundance of excellent staple foods and the many coexisting ethnic groups that have blended their diverse culinary traditions, it is no wonder that Peruvian cuisine is one of the most highly regarded in the world. As proof of the high standard of its cuisine, Peru has won the Best Culinary Destination Award for many years in a row. In the desert along the coast, humidity is extremely high, often exceeding 90%, despite the fact that this is one of the driest regions on the planet. Another peculiarity of Lima is that during the winter months the sun is obscured by the fog that blankets the city, yet it's still possible to swim in the ocean during that time, and you'll often see surfers in wetsuits riding the waves. Another characteristic feature of Peru is its extreme seismic activity. There is hardly a day that goes by without earthquakes that are more or less noticeable. These climatic conditions and the high seismic activity are clearly reflected in how buildings are designed and constructed in Peru. It is also interesting to note that the so-called Carretera Central is reached after a 120-kilometer drive, about 3 hours, over the Ticlio Pass at an altitude of 4,818 meters. Passing beneath this pass through a tunnel at an altitude of 4,783 meters is the so-called Ferrocarril Central Andino, which was built between 1871 and 1876 to connect the port of Callao/Lima with the Cerro de Pasco mining region where non-ferrous metals, particularly copper, are mined, and was for a long time the highest railway in the world. Peru is the second largest copper-producing country in the world after Zaire. A few kilometers after leaving Lima on the Carretera Central, you reach an area that is fog-free and cloudless for most of the year, where Peruvians have established sports clubs and luxury hotels, and some even live there all winter and spend the summer on a beach near Lima. An institutionalized custom in Peru was the so-called horario de verano, summer schedule, practiced by those working in public administration. This horario de verano consisted of a work schedule from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., after which everyone headed to the beach. It is not hard to imagine that during the summer, administrative efficiency left much to be desired, and in 1996, the daily horario de verano was discontinued, with a shortened workday on Fridays being implemented in the public administration, just as in Romania. It is also worth noting that dress codes are more lenient in the summer than in the winter, when a suit and tie are mandatory. My most important professional activity in Peru between 1973 and 1988 was the assessment of hydroelectric potential and national power planning, and I had the opportunity to get to know all regions of the country. But since I lived in Lima and had hobbies related to the ocean, windsurfing, and the desert, enduro, the Peruvian coast is the most familiar to me, and my accounts will focus primarily on this region. I have neither the expertise nor the ambition to analyze the multitude of aspects that highlight the differences and similarities between the two countries. I simply hope that through my accounts I can raise awareness in Romania about certain aspects I've come to know about this wonderful country. For those who wish to learn more details about this surprising country, I recommend visiting a general website about Peru. I've titled my recent accounts From Peru Literal Peruvian Style to allow for a comparative analysis of the littoral phenomenon, especially during the height of the summer season, when most Romanians head to the beach along our own coast or travel farther afield, as far as their budget allow. I intend to structure my future posts on this platform with the following titles: The Ancón Spa Resort Barranco, Lima's most romantic and bohemian district, a timeless modernist house, rural ecological architecture, the first rural, all-inclusive resort, La Granja Azul y el Pueblo Mate, the Mario Testino Museum, Barranco, Peru Club La Isla, Asia Desert Frenzy, SXS Buggy Tour in the Desert of Asia, Peru, Seaside. Sergio Morariu, 2020.